She was on Johnny Carson's show one time. She came there with a cat on her lap, and she said to you, "Do you want to pet my p-?" You said, "I'd love to if you'd remove that damn cat."
She was on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson once. She walked in with a cat on her lap and asked you, "Do you want to pet my love to if you take that damn cat off?" Johnny Carson hosted The Tonight Show for 30 years and talked to many famous people. But there were times when everything just fell into place so perfectly that Johnny and the crowd couldn't hold it together. Here are 15 of the funniest things that Johnny Carson has ever said. Carson's cigarette box gets broken by Don Rickles. Richards. Hold on, Rickle. Put down the tape. Someone broke my smoke box. When Rickles took over the show while Johnny was away, he made a joke out of his famous cigarette box by hitting it on the desk all the time. After that, it really broke. Carson found out the next night and rushed over to a nearby set where Rickles was filming another show. He slammed Rickles down in the middle of a scene. "Sweetheart, you won't have to land it." "Not at all." Carson's smoke box. "I broke his box, sorry. I broke a smoke box." "Where the hell did this go? Do you know how long I've had the cigarette box?" "It took place last night." "Who?" "Not Don Rickles. The show was not for me." "Did it last night?" "He has a tape across the hall." CPO Shark. "Could I go over there?" "I really don't care if they're on the air." Richards. "A Rickle. Hold on. Put down the tape. Someone broke my smoke box. I just began the show. I took the box I've had for 9 years off my desk. They told me you broke it on the last night's show." Well, I really did have one of those famous Tonight Show times where real life and TV became mixed. Jane Fonda wants to know about the joke with Zaza Gabber. Fonda's famous performance on The Tonight Show began as a normal interview. Johnny was very alert when she talked about Zaza Gabber. Carson's stance changed into full network TV defense mode as soon as the language pointed toward a crude punchline. "In fact, you were just talking about Ja Gabber. My son told me that she was on Johnny Carson's show once, which I think is what everyone is talking about. She walked up to you with a cat on her lap and asked, 'Do you want to pet my cat?' You said, 'Sure, as long as you take that damn cat off.'" "No, I think I remember that." You could see Johnny do the math right then and there. "What can I do to recognize this without saying it?" Everyone laughed because they knew the joke, but Carson had to act like he couldn't say it there on TV. Carson almost gets up from his chair because of Rodney Dangerfield. "Johnny, I know that people can drive you crazy, but the other night I went to a bar and asked for a double. He showed me a man who looked like me." In 1978, Dangerfield came on with the stiff, nervous energy that he always did so well. People in the room laughed so hard they barely had time to breathe between jokes. "My wife is just as bad as the rest of them. I told her I want to be burned when I die. She's setting up a grill." After one joke, there were more. Rodney had the funniest line ever. Timed and out of the blue. Carson lost his balance and laughed so hard that he fell out of his chair. "I don't want to drink because I'm not good at it." "John, I'll tell you that. I get to do 2 things the next day when I drink. It was my job to look for my car and give back the one I took. Do you remember that?" "Yes, of course." "Yes, I do." "Yes, you do." "I need to get out of bed." "Okay." "I'm not sure." "Move on to the next guy." "I'm not sure." Applause. The crowd went completely crazy. It's one of those times that shows how funny he was at his best. John Rickles making fun of Johnny and Ed McMahon. "Good luck, John. It's time for you to move on." "I believe something." "No, I'm not denying that." "No, I'm not leaving. I'm leaving this show as the host right now. Their work is done. These are the things I want to talk about. Don't try to be smooth. You are leaving even though they told you to." By 1991, Rickles wasn't so much a guest as an event. They sit down like they're ready for contact because Rickles always uses the desk as a boxing ring. He starts by making quick fun of Johnny's age, the show, and the suit. "Done. Are you the leader of Guam? I know your age, so aren't you getting it? The prom is over." "Okay. It's summer after all." "It's summer. And I know it, but you look like something like a Chinese yo-yo." "How do you feel, Ed?" Wonderful. Don't forget your name. Good. Thanks. Ed, you're going through a lot, but you're a good person, and you know I love you. Thanks, D. I'm ready to swear to anything. I did hear the news, of course. You're now the boss. I'm glad I was behind the scenes. Everyone is packing. The part turns into a rhythm of Rickles insulting Carson and Carson responding. The audience sees two people who clearly trust each other push things to the limit. There's something beautiful about seeing three professionals dance this way for decades. They are very sure of how far they can go. The funny signs that Johnny Carson had up on New Year's Eve. We need to figure out what to do to keep their attention tonight. Since there's a lot going on right now. There are shouts of, "What? What? What?" But they can't hear us. We thought that holding up these little signs during the show would get people's attention. You'd like to see some of them, right? You should, since this is the material spot. Applause. Good job. This is only for people at home. We don't need to say anything, do we? That is a good idea. The Tonight Show played on the idea that people at home might be busy or partying because it was the holiday season. Carson planned a simple joke to see. To get people's attention, he would hold up signs. The bits began nicely, like a fun warning. After that, the signs. It got more direct and desperate as it went on. The crowd was already in a better mood because it was New Year's Eve. Are you reading this? Don't switch channels. Your mom called and wants you to watch. Bob, you need to take a full shot of this. You have the card in your hand. Okay. You can now show it. Are you ready? The prop also doesn't work. What? All the way inside. Okay. Because they were so clear, each sign got funnier as it went along. It worked because Carson said it in a deadpan way. He wasn't exaggerating. He was just holding up signs on national TV like a man who is slowly losing his honor. Carson's speech fails. Carson's alone time. Usually worked like a clock. Set up a joke. The funny part. Every night, switch to a different joke and tell it again. But every once in a while, he'd spit out a joke that sounded better in his head than when the writers pitched it. It would get very quiet in the room. You must have read something about the Bonisher Rajing. People keep giving this man cars, even though he already has 90 Rolls-Royces. Good group. What did you say? No, Rajneesh is the right name. Rajneesh. Yes. The Bwan Rajneesh. That's the last name. Rajneesh. Yes. That's fine then. Rajneesh. Like Bhagwan or Bhagwan. Rajneesh. Iswan. That uncomfortable silence where you can hear someone cough or move around in their seat. He wouldn't rush through the quiet and act like it didn't happen. Instead, he'd pause and address it directly, as if it were an extra performer on stage. Afterwards, he would sometimes do a quick physical reset or a quick tag aimed at himself or the writers. The audience would instantly calm down and laugh at the recognition. It became less about the joke that didn't work and more about watching him get the room back into a rhythm and a sense of safety. Plans for Thanksgiving for Doc Severinsen. In 1979, it's Thanksgiving week, and Doc Severinsen is filling in for Ed McMahon. The desk already feels a little off balance, which is kind of fun. As they start to talk about their holiday plans, Doc steps in with a simple question. Does Johnny really help Mrs. Carson prepare the turkey? As a smug response, Johnny says it's the same as Doc helping Mrs. Severinsen prepare the turkey. He thinks he's made the perfect one-on-one blow. Doc doesn't miss a beat and calmly tells him there is no Mrs. Severinsen. This turns Johnny's joke into an instant cell phone that sets the studio on fire. After that, it turns into a wild improv duel about stuffing, divorce, and writing checks. Carson is laughing so hard that he reaches under the desk for tissues, and Doc keeps scoring clean tags like he's been waiting years for this chance. There was a laughing bird and Joan Embry. Joan Embry came on to do what she always did, which was bring out an animal and lead Carson through a short, friendly, educational section. After that, the bird made a funny-sounding laugh. Everyone was surprised. While she was trying to keep talking, the bird kept cutting her off. The worst possible times. It was like a small comedian walking in on the conversation. The bird would laugh every time they tried to move on. Carson began to laugh out loud. The crowd was losing it. This turned into one of those hilarious times where nothing was planned at all. Frank Sinatra is pranked by Don Rickles. When Sinatra walks into the studio, the whole atmosphere changes. Everyone in that room treats him with respect and awe because he's not just a guest, he's an institution. The air is filled with a nervous energy. People know Rickles for one thing. He never acts scared around anyone, no matter who they are or how powerful they might be. He steps into that place with that trait. At first, the conversation seems like a friendly praise match. But then, Rickles starts insulting Sinatra in a way that would sound completely crazy coming from almost anyone else. He was on TV, calling him old and making fun of his hair, singing, and everything else, like he was any other guy in the room. Sinatra's responses are what make it work without getting dangerous. He looks calm, amused, and sometimes stern. The people in the room are always looking at his face to see how long the leash is and if Rickles is about to cross a line that he shouldn't. Carson stands in the middle, like a boxing match judge, enjoying the tension but making sure it doesn't turn into real hostility, which would ruin everything. The moment lasts because it's like watching two strong people fight for control on camera. It felt like Rickles was going to go too far, but he never does. The joke about Buddy Hackett's breakup. Hackett is known for being a little too wild for polite TV, so the viewers are already looking forward to a near event. Bad things happen before he even talks. He starts with personal and exaggerated breakup stories, the kind that make Carson lean back and watch the line between funny and inappropriate for network TV. Then he talks about the bath, and you can feel him seeing how much he can suggest before the censors or the network stop him. Carson's job is to kindly steer the conversation so that Hackett can be Hackett and the conversation doesn't turn into something that NBC would later wish they hadn't shown. Hackett's stories are so physical and shameless that they make people laugh, and they can tell he's playing with too much the whole time he's talking. It's one of those Carson bits where the suspense of what might be said is another part of the fun. You can see Carson deciding in real time whether to let the show go on or cut to a commercial. Hackett's are breaking the rules, but they're doing it with such style that it's hard to resist. To really be upset by what he's saying. Jonathan Winters stuck his cat to the ground. It was in that wild energy that Winters most of the time showed up. At first, the story starts with a normal accident at home. Something silly and small that happens while you clean or fix something around the house. Then he starts playing it out with all of his heart and soul, using voices, panic, sudden changes in tone, and body language that make every character come to life. It stops feeling like a story and starts feeling like a live sketch happening on Carson's couch in front of millions of people. Carson doesn't try to keep him in line or get him back to the normal questioning mode. Because having Winters on is all about making chaos, he lets him go crazy. People are interested because Winters keeps making the same event into bigger and bigger emotions. The cat meowing, his shock at learning what had happened, and how his wife reacted when she learned. It gives each detail its own voice and body. You feel like you saw a man turn a stupid accident into a full-on play without using any other tools besides his body and voice by the end. Carson laughed so hard that he could hardly sit still. This part of the show shows why Winters was thought to be so smart. Phrases that you will never hear. Carson sets it up like an old-school list piece from 1989. The kind of cleanly organized comedy that the show could start on any night with little preparation. The first one is shown below. That's Mr. Rogers for you.